First Sergeant Cap here with Company D, 2nd United States Sharpshooters. And today I wanted to take some time to talk to you a little bit about the duties of being a first sergeant. It's kind of a starting point. I really recommend that you go to our website at secondusss.com. Captain Whitehall has put a lot of work into creating manuals and expectations for each of the ranks in our company, and he spent a lot of time through his Marine Corps experience really focusing on qualities of leadership. And in our company, we emphasize leadership rather than costume rank. So as a first sergeant, I would say that one of the most important things you really need to look for is that you have earned your rank. Now obviously if you're forming a unit for the first time, that's not always going to be possible, but making sure that people in your company earn their rank and that everyone has an opportunity to pay their dues, and that as first sergeant your primary responsibility is being essentially the company mother and teacher. You have to be able to make sure that you know how all of your soldiers are doing physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and that you know what they're capable of on the field. You know all of their strengths. You support them in developing and minimizing their weaknesses, and you foster and promote leadership qualities, because your junior NCOs and your privates are really the future of your hobby and your company. And by having that consistency of expectation and dues paid really builds a rock solid esprit de corps that creates so much fairness and sense of being and honesty in your company. Now it's one thing as a first sergeant to know your drill. That kind of goes without saying. You should probably be the best at drill in your company. Everything from the basics of School of the Soldier, School of the Company, and you really should be able to take over for your captain in the event of his absence or his death in battle. And in Company D, we live and breathe up training. So all of our privates, all the way up to our captain, we all know everyone's duties, responsibilities, and all the importance of drill. And everyone in our company has an opportunity to not only run School of the Soldier and run drill, but to also lead skirmish and command the company. And for those who may not feel confident in doing it in a battlefield, or in large groups, we make sure that they all have an opportunity to perform to their best in the situation that's the most comfortable for them. But aside from knowing your drill, what really sets a good first sergeant apart is that you actually know how to use those commands in a tactical way on the battlefield. You'll see reenactors quite often who know the drill, they've bought all the manuals and read them. They could tell you every possible detail in that manual, but you get them on the battlefield, they only know forwards and backwards. And it's a huge weakness, and especially when the enemy's hitting you hard, there's a wealth of tactical maneuvers that were employed regularly in the Civil War that you so rarely see at reenactments. And I think that's one thing that really helps our unit draw in the public and impress our battalion staff and our friends on the Confederate side, is because we know and use regularly even the most difficult of Civil War tactical maneuvers. The other thing that's important is you always have to remember that the first sergeant sets the standard. You are the high bar that your company sets. So regardless of your income, you should try your best to have the most accurate impression possible of your budget. If you happen to have plenty of money, you really should have the best gear that you can afford. If you have little to no budget, then you need to make sure that if you're going to take on the duty of wearing these, that you're actively saving consciously and setting aside money to consistently improve your impression. And you may not be able to go out and buy everything in 1 year, but say, well, I'm going to buy a really nice frock. I'm going to buy an Osmiansky forage cap. I'm going to buy a nice pair of Cicala Brogans. So if anything, each year you're investing in another piece of quality gear to kind of set that standard, and that you maintain your gear. The other thing is you need to be really knowledgeable of different vendors, quality vendors, forums, information about the uniforms, about the gear. So if you get young people in, or people that are on a fixed income, that you can help them maximize their impression for the budget that they have. The other primary responsibility that we believe is of the first sergeant is weapons maintenance and safety. The Sharps rifle, the 1859 Sharps, it can be quite a handful to clean and maintain, especially in the field and during events. And sometimes there's some specialty tools in the Sharps, breech plug removing tools, the gas sleeve adjustment tool, and all that. It's also important to have some spare parts in the company. A lever spring, for example, is a common consumable part. A mainspring sometimes will go out on older rifles, but I've seen it on fairly new ones. And you need to be able to educate your new recruits that are especially using loaner rifles on how to clean and maintain their Sharps rifles to the highest like expectations of cleanliness. And that follows through when you do your morning inspections with your soldiers. And that said, your rifle should always be in tip-top, beautiful shape. Your gear needs to be clean and organized, and you should also be the first one ready. No one in your company should ever have to wait on you. You're the first one up. You're the first one to have your cartridge box filled, your cap pouch loaded, your canteens filled, your pack packed, always ready for battle at a moment's notice, or for being called to detach service, or to assist the battalion command in some manner. And speaking about battalion command, it's really important that you are a leader not only in your own company, but in your reenacting organization. That you not only just turn in your morning reports, but you build relationships with your battalion commanders and your battalion staff, because you, along with the captain, represent your company not only on the battlefield, but in the politics of everyday Army business. So always keep that in mind. Maintaining soldier health. It gets really hot wearing wool. Not everyone is used to sleeping outside and running in the hot sun all day. So you need to understand and monitor soldier hydration, making sure that they're eating, that they're cooling off, that they're getting enough rest. You always have to make sure that you know that your soldiers are going to be fighting fit, and if they're ill, that they feel safe and welcome as they recover. Last year we had an event in Snoqualmie. The heat wave was terrible, and it took down quite a few of our company, and rather than just kind of hide out in a boiling lava hot tent, we sent them over to medical, and they were able to cool off with some nice ice water and cool handkerchiefs. And all the while they were recuperating, they were still being able to reenact in the medical impression. So it was still a win-win, because everyone still wants to play at the end of the day. So there's a lot more to being a first sergeant or an NCO, and frankly, one, you don't want your company to be rank obsessed. You really have to nip that in the bud. For one, I think our unit's fairly exceptional because our privates pride themselves on doing a quality private impression, and they have a lot of honor about that. And I feel too many people don't give the private impression enough attention. A lot of people just kind of treat them as grunts. They're just there to goof off. But our privates really take the impression seriously, focusing on their camp setup, being prepared, and cooking over the campfire. So you want to make sure that everyone's comfortable doing the best they are in the position they're in. I also think that people who want to have rank are crazy, because you never have a day off. You don't get a call in sick. No matter how hot or miserable you are, there are still a ton of company duties that you're expected to perform. Um, so it makes for a very long day, but it is very rewarding. The other thing that our officers and NCOs make sure that we're responsible for is our civilian contingent. And the civilian contingent and our families are what keep the hobby going, and it's what allows many of us to keep reenacting by keeping our family involved. So our military family extends to our civilian family. So at the end of the day or throughout the day, we make sure that our military goes and performs duties, making sure that our civilians have water and split firewood, that all their needs are also attended for. And the first sergeant, along with the captain, are key in facilitating that. It's also really important that you know how to delegate work responsibly and fairly. Granted, your junior NCOs are going to be, your corporals are going to be primarily doing work details, but you have to be fostering and promoting those leadership qualities so they can educate and perform work details in a really good, consistent, period correct manner. There's so much. So I mean, we follow Casey's tactics. Couts has many great manuals on camp duty and outpost duty. So this is a sort of a really big topic, but I kind of wanted to hit some of the more personal things, the more human things I don't think gets discussed about the actual organization and management of a company and a reenacting organization. The manuals are great. They hit a lot of details. They have a lot of stuff in them that most people don't realize. But if you have any questions about duties that you think are really important to or comments about what you think an NCO should do, or questions about how you can improve your leadership, please let us know down in the comments. We'll be happy to answer them, maybe do an additional video, and then we'll be doing one with Captain Whitehall in the future, talking about the company command aspect. But keep checking out on our website at secondUSSS.com. We try to make sure that we share all of our resources, our drill guides, our leadership characteristics, all the stuff that can help you help your company. And the other thing, I just realized I have a bad link on the website as of today, but we also keep on our company our company's standing orders. So our Berdan standing orders are essentially the common sense rules that we all agree on, we all understand, so that there's no mistakes. So when civilians or strangers are expected to leave camp, the fact that you follow company courtesy, you don't bomb through people's streets like so often happens. It's a peeve of mine. Sometimes I'm a bit rude about it, but your company street is a sacred space, and if you are going into a company street without a pass, you're violating military law in a very real way. But it's so commonplace that people don't follow those military protocols. That's in there too. So yeah, like, when do you expect people to get up? When do you expect them to clean their rifles? When do you expect them to eat dinner? How they keep in touch and communicate. So we try to keep all that available. That might be a good guide for you as you kind of look into your expectations and you talk to your company. One last thing I will say that we also do, talking about communication, is at every event, but also throughout the year, at every event we have captain and first sergeant meeting, where we talk about the company, we talk about the battles, our thoughts, our concerns, and we kind of troubleshoot, and we take opportunities to praise everyone in our company. Then I'll have an NCO meeting after that, where the NCOs and I get together and we debrief, we review the day, and then we have an all-company meeting where we talk to everyone, so everyone has an opportunity to share praise and share concern. And then we also make sure that we sit down with our civilians at the end of the day to make sure that we're meeting, we're addressing their needs and they're comfortable and happy. It sounds like a lot of work, but there's a lot of sort of the nuts and bolts that I think sharing this could really help you improve your reenacting community. So thanks for sticking with us on this long video today. We'll catch you next time.